Hi, Peter here from Dobiquity. You're very welcome to this short video on how to set up the employee survey app to gain feedback from your employees. To get started, just simply click on the employee survey app either on the bar here or on the little white cross on the blue background. That will open up the employee survey app ready for use. Please ignore the versions that you see on screen at the moment, but to get started with this app, you simply click on Create New. That opens up the starting page of setting up an employee feedback survey. And as you can see along the top, there are 4 steps to setting up your employee survey. Step 1 is the page we're looking at. We're going to give it some details in step 2. We're going to select some content in step 3, and then we're going to confirm what we've set up in step 4. We do suggest that you just take a little bit of time to read the rest of the text on the screen when you come to look at setting up an employee feedback survey. To continue from here, it is just simply clicking on Next. So a click on Next takes you to step 2 in setting up your survey. You select your property, and normally this is automatically input from your account. We do need to give this survey a name, and I'm just going to call it Peter, and I'm going to give it today's date, which is the 6th of May 20, just so as I can see it in that list of surveys that I've created. I do want it to be active, so I'm going to leave that status as active, and I'm just going to click on Next. You can see now that we've moved to step 3 in the setting up of our app, and this is where we're going to select the content that we want to include in our employee survey. But before I talk about that, I just want to refer you to the standard filters, and there is a button here that says View Standard Filters. These filters are important because they determine what criteria you want to use to filter the results of your employee survey from. And I'm just going to show you those and just talk about them in a little bit more detail. Just to have a look at the standard filters that come as part of the system, I'm just going to click on View Standard Filters. And as you can see, there are 5 filters that are automatically added to a version of the employee survey app. Just to make a point about each of these, if you don't like any of these filters or you don't want them to be part of your survey, then you just use the little bin icon to get rid of them. And equally, if you want to edit the detail behind each of these filters, then just click on the pencil icon and that will allow you to edit the content. For example, under gender at the moment, male and female are the options that can be selected, but you might want to add some more options, and if so, you would use the pencil icon to do so. If you use the property icon, or you leave the property filter in place, then you do have to populate it. So just a click on the pencil icon and then you can name your various properties. If you're a single property, then I would actually just delete the filter that is please select your property to make life a bit easier. And just over on the right hand side, you'll see the is mandatory box is ticked for all of them. This is important because the completer of your employee survey, once you distribute it, will have to give you an answer to each of these filters because you've made them mandatory. If you don't need them to be mandatory, then obviously you can remove that tick. Finally, just in relation to filters, we can create our own filters from scratch. And to do that, you just simply click on the Create New Filter. It will ask you to give the filter a title, and then you add the options that you would like added to that new filter that you've created. Once the filters are in place, then it's a case then of deciding what elements we want in terms of direct questions to go to our employees. And we can use any of these predetermined modules: vision and mission, communication, rewards and recognition, etc. And we can add all of these titles to the survey if we wish, but that might make it a pretty long survey, as underneath each of these headings there are 5 statements or 5 questions. that would be asked of your respondents to your survey. So for example, just clicking on vision and mission, you can see that there are 5 standards here. These have been put together by involvement of professional HR managers, and they would be very typical of what you would find in an employee survey. If you like the questions that you see, just simply tick the ones that you would like added to your survey, and you can see over on the right hand side that each one you select is automatically added to your survey. You can add additional questions to each of these modules by selecting different question types, and just have a quick look at that. You've got multiple choice that you can select from, which are the same as the ones that we've already added, or there is a free text option, a yes no option, drop down menu, checkbox option, or radio buttons. So questions are very easy in terms of their ability to be added to each of these modules. Or if you need to add questions over and above a module, you can use the add question button. And if you need to create your own module, you just simply click on create your own module, give the module a title, and then you would add your questions to it using a similar format to down here. We will add just one more area or one more module to this example version of the employee survey app that we're putting together. We'll just pick rewards and recognition. You can see again 5 questions come up. Options to add, again, using different question types if I so choose, but I'm just going to pick a couple of these and add them to the survey. We'll just take 3, we'll just take that last one as well. And as you can see, each time these questions are added as we select them, and we could continue to add modules as I've mentioned before. Just before we leave the screens, worthy just of showing you the little compass points here. That will allow you to grab any of these particular questions and drag them into a new location. They remain within their modules, but you can have a different order for when the employee completes your survey. Just to give you an example of that, let's take this very last one using those arrows. Just going to drag it right to the very top. And as you can see, that question has now been moved to the top. And as we reflect on the questions we've added, if we need to get rid of any of them, it's just simply a click on the little X beside them. Once that's done and we're happy that we're ready to move on, I've kept this a fairly short survey, I'm just going to click on next, which takes us then to the final confirmation screen that just reminds us of the survey title. We know what the property name is coming in automatically from our account. We can see the filters that we've selected to make them part of our survey. And then the modules that we selected were vision and mission, some questions from that. Rewards and recognition, we didn't add any questions, and if we had have added some questions, we would see them listed here. And then there's a couple of options that we should consider. The first of which is, do you want to show an instruction screen as part of your survey? On this first line here, I do want to do that because the majority of my questions, in fact all of my questions, are multiple choice questions, and this just gives the completer of your survey an idea of how they should do that. So I'm going to leave that as a yes. We use a smiley face rating system. And this next option says, if somebody picks a red smiley, which is the worst return they can give to you for your question, do you want them to be able to give you an answer as to why they've rated it as a red smiley? And if you do, just use the drop down box here to select yes. And then finally, on the very opening screen of the screen that the end user will use to complete your survey, there is an option for us to add some text, and that can really be anything that you would like it to be. So I'm just going to say, please complete our survey. And this will just show you where that appears when we look at this from an end user's point of view. I could just click there to preview my survey if that's what I would like to do. But just again, for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to click on finish. And that pops up a box for me that just tells me that I've successfully created my survey, and then it provides me with this URL link that I can then put into an email or distribute to the employee members that I'd like to complete this particular survey. Many thanks for watching this video, and thank you very much indeed for your time. I hope you will have found it to have been of benefit. If you require some further assistance, please contact us on support@dobiquity.com, and there is a further video that will show you the reporting side of using the employee survey app.